Alright, now that we are done trying out the Death Wish stuff, we're going to play Arachas Swarm. Arachas Swarm is one of my go-to monsters decks for a very long time, just because it's very consistent and you know what it's going to do. And that's nice. So if we look at the deck here, there's been a couple buffs to certain cards that we're going to be running, and I've run a mid-range version, well, a less control version before, a very heavy control version, and this will be the high unit version where you just swarm as much as possible. Those are really the three different ways you can run Arachas Swarm, right? You can have the full control version, and that's where you put all the damage cards in, and you can even run the immunity version. I could consider that very similar. And then you have like the mid-range, or the mid-ish version, the mid-swarm version we'll call it, where you run some of the cards and you have a decent amount of removal, and you don't go all in on the swarming, so you cut like Bone Talismans and some of your payoff cards in case there's a removal heavy meta, like if Siege is popular with Reinforced Ballistas, maybe you do that version where you run some more point slam-ish type stuff and less reliant on big payoffs from your swarming, because then you're less resistant to that Madoc too, because Cataclysm removes your stuff. And there's this version, which is where you get all the payoffs from swarming your units, and that's the version we're going to be trying out today. This is the version This version has the highest point ceiling of the three, but it's also the most countered by stuff like Reinforced Ballistas and Madoc Bombs. With that said, let's get into the deck here. It should be fairly straightforward. Magic Lamp creates a unit, so we're using that. Onomancy for consistency. Triss Telekinesis plays a special bronze card. The best value is usually Spontaneous Evolution, but if you need damage, you go Natural Selection. It's up to you. We have the Heat Wave. Actually, in the highest, and obviously the finisher one is you make Bone Talisman with her, but if you're not playing her as a finisher, those are the best ones, usually the Evolution. Playing her as a finisher is kind of risky because the opponent usually has bronze specials, and then you do too, but you can always land Spontaneous Evolution on a beast for +8 or something like that, so she's still a really good finisher, and then you have the option of picking the Bone Talisman with her. Heat Wave for removal. We need removal, so we have ways to deal the opponent's stuff. Heat Wave's really good. Crimson Curse is a huge swing. It comes down for 7 points, and then it gives them 1 bleeding that turn after it goes onto something, so it's an 8-point swing that turn, but then there's 10 points of bleeding total going to be netted out to their units over time. So if you want to secure a round, this is how you do it. You play Crimson Curse a couple cards before you want the round to end, and then they'll usually pass to avoid the damage from it, or they'll have to commit big cards to counter it. And if you get all the value off of this, it plays for 17 total, and also creates a Endrega larva, or not larva, the what's it called? The drone, and then you can put stuff on the drone, so that's nice too. It also creates 3 units, which is a big deal. Yennefer is your finisher. You play Yennefer when you have a bunch more units than your opponent, and it's massive, and you get a ton of points. Really nice. Zoltan Scoundrel got a nice buff. That's why we're running him. So, originally I ran the Germain Piquant, right? The neutral guy. You spawn the cows on either side, right? So you spawns 2 cows, and you auto spawn a cow. I used to run him. Now we're running the Zoltan instead. The reason is we're going to be relying more on payoffs from our swarming, and we're going to not be running into as much heavy control, I think. So less Madocs, less siege stuff. We're basically getting a higher point ceiling in other matchups to make that matchup a little more risky. That's what we're doing here. With that said, Zoltan Scoundrel with Companion plays for 13 normally. You have a full row, and then you put a +1 boost and everything. 13 for 8. That's pretty good. That's a nice swarm payoff. We have the Arachas Behemoth. Again, really strong. You're going to have a lot of drones, and he boosts the drones, and he also spawns drones. So he creates 3 bodies and boosts all of them. Really nice. Tribute pulls out an organic card. So your choices here are the Parasite for 6 damage removal, Spontaneous Evolution for the biggest swing, Arachas Nest to spawn 5 guys if you don't have a drone out already for Evolution. Usually you want to go for Evolution though. Then you have Natural Selection, 1 of these for some damage. It's not bad. And then we have the Endrega Queen. Now this spot is very not necessarily should be Endrega Queen, but I was thinking about it, and she creates 3 units, right? So she creates 3 over the turns, right? And she also has a Consume. Now the reason we care about Consume, we'll get to later, there's only one thing you want to consume, that's Night Wraith for one of our bronzes. And then I figured we might as well throw her in here, because in the slot here, we gained 2 provisions by cutting Germain. So you could use that. I use it to bump a 5 provision card. You can use that however you want. So we had Endrega Queen. You could fit something else in for sure here. You could run your Itter if you want to. You could run your Pugo Boombreaker. He plays for 10 if you just play a drone and have him damage the drone. That's not bad. You could also run something else, like a Striga for more damage. Completely up to you. You also have access to the neutral cards, right? So if you go to neutral 7s, you could put in whatever you want here. So it's all up to you. Personally, I kind of like the Queen. She feels like she fits thematically in the deck. But it's all up to you. You could also run the Worker guy. The Monsters one, you could run the one they recently nerfed, the Kikimor Worker, as a bronze 4 provision card, and then consume that. It protects it from dying, and then you get the 3 armor for tokens. That's not bad. I think that's what it's intended to do. But you could do that. I just wanted to run her to see how she felt as a consumer, because usually the things that create tokens don't play for that many points more than their provisions. Evolution's obviously the exception here. It was all like Arachas Nest is a 4/4. Stuff like Germain is a 8 or 9. I believe he's a 9 for 10 right away. So yeah, 9 for 10. So they usually don't play for high above their provision value, so I wasn't too mindful of that. You could also run in here the Purify if you want to drop to 6. There's options. This slot is very flexible. I just wanted to run in Draga Queen and try her out. Attune Bone Talismans. Bone Talisman is your big payoff. You can actually fill up your rows when you have 2 or 3 cards left and be alright. So overswarming is less of a big deal when you have Bone Talisman, because you just, oh, I'm filled up the rows, Bone Talisman, and then like a Heat Wave or a Parasite. Still pretty decent. With Gregory Vol for lock, Parasite for control. This is our control tools along with Heat Wave. If you want to fit another one in, we also have the Natural Selection. You can fit another one if you want to. I also tried out the newly buffed Witcher card. The 6 damage set to 12, wherever it is. To try the Grasses, you could try that. Having another 6 damage card is nice, and it's actually pretty good now. Neutral 6 damage. Although Parasite's better because it's organic and it spawns you something. We're not playing too many organic cards here, so the leader ability isn't swarming that much, but it's still pretty good. Spontaneous Evolution is your strongest swarm card. It boosts by 4, and then it creates 4 drones, because it makes 3, then you get 1 for it being an organic. So it plays for 8 points, and that's really good. If you hit the Beast, it boosts it by 8, and then you get another drone, so it's 9. The highest potential payoff is you hit a Beast. The only beasts we're going to have are the Griffin and the Rats. You don't really want to do the Griffin. Also Chimera. Really just want to put it on the Rats if you're going to do that one. Don't get too tall. Griffin we are running. Destroy an allied unit with the lowest on the row. This is interesting. Griffin's decent actually. We're not playing Mamuna. We're just playing Griffin for a Point Slam card. And originally I had in Wild Hunt Riders, and Griffin really helps with Wild Hunt Rider setup. But I took the Riders out because I thought we had enough consistency. You could still run them over Griffin if you want to. The consistency is nice to have. The other thing with Griffin is you can use it to destroy your Night Wraiths and trigger their Death Wish. So it's not bad either. The Chimeras. Chimera's really strong. You want to get a whole bunch of Arachas drones out, and then you consume one in that row once you have Adrenaline and get plus 7 or 8. We usually route 6 or 7 points extra, and it plays for like 11 for 5. That's really good. You want these high payoff cards from your swarming, because the swarming itself isn't always the most efficient. Like Arachas Nest, for example, right? You play Arachas Nest, you spawn 4 drones, you create another one because it is a organic. You hope the second one goes in a different row so you can hit with Spontaneous Evolution, or you put it in the same row and Spontaneous Evolution fill up that row. Up to you, whichever you need at that time, and you Chimera it, and then you get a bunch of points. Natural Selection's in here for some removal, and Draga Warrior is in here for some consume. Really, we don't really need the Warrior. The thing with the Warrior is the consume's nice on these Night Wraiths. You have a 4 provision slot here. This could be the Worker instead, the Kikimor Worker. Definitely want to try that out as well. It's a good option. Might be better. The thing with the Griffin hitting the Night Wraiths, it gives you -3 and then +2 Rats. So it's the same as hitting a drone in the end. But yeah. And then we have the Night Wraiths. They spawn units, and then they're pretty decent. So yeah, this is the deck. It's pretty good. Let's get into some games, try it out. It did quite well. And then, yeah, it did quite well in testing earlier. And then now we'll just see how it does when we go play some games now. Alright, our first game here, up against Mobilization. Like I was saying, I quite enjoy using the Arachas Swarm decks. They're pretty consistent. You always know what they're going to do. You always know what your problematic matchups are. They're ping damage or stuff you can't remove. And K here could be a problem, but other than that, you kind of know what's going on. So I like that for the deck, and it's pretty consistent. It usually does very well for me. And this version here, we're going to play, like I mentioned in the deck profile, it's more of a payoff-based version, right? So you have a higher ceiling from points from your payoff by swarming, and we'll just do that. And hopefully the idea here is that it's not quite as good versus stuff like Siege Ballistas and constant ping damage like Madoc, but against other decks, your payoff ceiling is higher, you can get more points and beat them more consistently. And maybe reach decks you couldn't before, like a Hyper Thing could have been a problem before this deck, although you can certainly try to avoid that. You just didn't have the payoff sometimes to beat them with their huge point slams. All that said, we're facing Mobilization, which is probably a Revenant deck. There's our first Kedwini Revenant right now. Obviously we have to kill the Revenants. Revenants are a huge problem for Arachas Swarm, because if you let them get going, they're going to be going. Not only are they getting an extra 4 points a turn, 1 from the damage and 3 from spawning someone, you're losing a drone, and that drone's probably at least 2 or 3 points of payoff. So you really just can't let them have that going. So that means here we have to play very aggressively to avoid that. We're going to make some more drones first. So our goal here is to play very aggressively this round, try and push for a win on even, and then force Siege out round 2. I'm sure he's playing, well, he might not guaranteed be playing Siege, but he probably is. Amphibious Assault, this is going to be another, it's going to be a Redain Archer over the Revenant. These are pinging our guys down. I think we want to go for a payoff here. Probably want to drop our Duda, or our Zoltan Scoundrel, and make our companion here. Go for the big boost. Plays for 12, it's nice, and at above a 1 point, it's much harder for him to remove these, right? It takes 2 Archer pings instead of just 1. So we can keep more of our drones around. And then if he pushes here, we might aggressively play our Crimson Curse off of our Wispus. Okay, he's playing Madoc. This is exactly the type of deck that counters us. So Madoc Cataclysm removes drones. He pings away our drones. His Ballistas and Archers destroy our drones. So our Swarm is going to be pretty weak. And this is what the Bone Talisman version is weaker against. Can't quite get our Consume here yet. We're going to play melee mainly, just because I don't want to get Madoc's Cataclysm to have any value. And if he has any Trebuchets, we're going to avoid him, although he probably doesn't. We do lose 1 point on playoff from a Chimera, but that's okay. I think we'll play the Chimera now, though. Guess he's going to get his Cataclysm. This is a big Consume. Plus 7 boosts, so Chimera played for 12. 12 for 5. That's really big. This is where the Swarm gets valuable, is these huge payoffs. Because when you actually create the unit, it's usually not that strong, especially Arachas Nests in particular. So I think Evolution is pretty nice when you play it. There's a Cataclysm. I'm guessing another bomb's coming down. The one that does damage to the ones next to each other has gotten a lot less popular, which is nice for us. Okay, so we have Bone Talisman. It's not super good here. We could go for Wispus. I think we will go for Wispus right into probably... Crimson Curse would secure us the round, but we have Bone Talisman and Arachas Behemoth in our hand for payoff, so I think this will be nice. And we'll have that for later. Bone Talisman plays for, what, 15 here? That's a lot. And then we have Arachas Behemoth. He only gets to spawn 1, but then he'll boost 6, so we'll lose some here. We definitely want to create more, because we're going to lose them. Crimson Curse was an option, but I don't think I wanted to, because the bleeding could go on Madoc. That would have been bad. And he also has Veil on a melee unit, so we'd have to put it ranged. Red Haze is probably really bad, but he gets Madoc back. We're probably going to lose 3 drones here. Oh, that's really nice. We only lost 1. I'll take it. That means it's Talisman time. Yeah, that's convenient. We're already up by 6. Actually, let's go Behemoth. If we get the full Swarm, well, here's full deploy value here. So he played 2 guys, then boosted 6 guys. That's 8. He played for 11. That's nice. Okay, so now we got what we wanted. We aggressively played our round 1 to get the win on even. Now we have to force out Siege round 2. You might be playing Drog instead of Siege. You might mobilize a Kedwini guy. With them play very aggressively here. And we don't have much Swarm here, so Bone Talisman really not going to be great. Put them back. Our hand's kind of... It's workable, I think. We'll go with this push here. You know what? No, we're not. This hand's not workable. I was just looking over this again. No, we're not doing this. We have the up a card advantage here, and we have Heat Wave for Siege. If we didn't have Heat Wave, we definitely would have... If we didn't have Heat Wave in our deck, we definitely would have gone for it there. But I think we could handle up a card round 3 if we can banish the Siege. Oh, GG. Alright, that's the end of the first game. Yeah, on the spot there, kind of decided to go for that pass. I was thinking about the push, but then I realized we only have Griffin, and then we have a Consume with no Consume targets. And we already secured the even, so if we can't force out the Siege, we can always banish it. If you're not running Heat Wave, you'd probably want to push there, although you'd need a different hand. Onomancy is very flexible. Okay, this game here. So this is probably... Did I ambush? This could be traps. This could be some form of Elf Mage deck, although usually you don't see that. Usually they're Precision Strike or Call of Nature. Or whatever, it's Nature's Gift. Not Call of Nature. I confused the Call of Harmony and that one's names. Okay, so we have Parasite to kill off an Elven Seer or Sorceress. We have Wispa's Tribute to pull out another 4 damage card. That's nice. But I think here we'll pull out an Arachas Nest. We need to set up our swarming. The thing is in our hand, the only way we can swarm is with the 2 Spontaneous Evolutions and the Andraka Queen. Otherwise we would have to use our Crimson Curse. And I don't want to commit Crimson Curse until he has a unit out, so I know what row to put it in. Crimson Curse is a very powerful card to push for a round win. I think we might play it this round because we don't want him to get too much carryover or have a longer... He gets, what, like a... I forgot, they get like 100-something points a round if you don't do anything round 3 and they still have Simlas. I've seen up to 120-ish, I think. And we want to win this round as well because we have Heat Wave for Gorge. That's nice. Okay, it's traps. I'm guessing there won't be any elf cards really other than the Feign Death. We can banish Feign Death. Then we want to watch out for Eldain. Traps is a really bad matchup as well because of the row damage from the Crushing Trap. I think we'll consume here. I want to make our rows the same number so that there's a chance that we don't lose our drones. It also takes a point from the melee row, puts it ranged, saves us a point there. And then we'll spawn this and they'll be even. It's pretty nice. Yeah, the traps will make this matchup extremely hard. He's going to have 1 Crushing Trap here. He might play Yorvith to replay Crushing Trap, that's 2, and then he has 2 in his deck. He has potentially 4 Crushing Traps. Although sometimes they run stuff like Pitfall Trap, Mahakam Horn, and Mahakam Horn not as much, but they do run it sometimes. And then the Serpent Trap. The Pitfall Trap in particular also deals with a lot of our stuff. Oh, he's playing Waylay version? Interesting. Yeah, there's the Crushing Trap, so we're losing our drones. I don't want to quite throw down Crimson Curse yet, although I would like to if he gets another unit melee. Instead, I think we will go for Spontaneous Evolution, but the thing is, we don't want to make too many things ranged because he might have, well, he has another Crushing Trap, we know that now. And we already knew that when the game started. We could Onomancy here, but what do we go for? Dude, would be okay, but we need more swarming first. I think we'll just Spontaneous Evolution the melee row, spread these drones out a bit so the Crushing Traps are less good. It would be nice that last one spawned from the organic trigger and the ranged, but we got plenty of drones spread out here. We can play our Bone Talisman. It won't be amazing, but if he doesn't play a trap here, we'll play that. He does play a trap here. He doesn't play... We'll probably play the Bone Talisman either way. It's better for us if he uses the Crushing Traps now, because the later rounds will be easier that way. We really want the Crushing Traps gone, because they're the big problem in this matchup. Big problem. So he Yorvith that trap. We'll Talisman here. We want to check for Serpent Trap. Also, Crushing Trap will get our guys, but I want to wait one more turn before we play Crimson Curse, because if this isn't Crushing Trap, then we actually are in a good spot. He might be trying to fake us out, is the thing.
Above sabotage.
Sometimes I try and fake you out with the traps. Yeah, see, it's not Crushing Trap. I think Crimson Curse probably secures the round. This could be... Let's see what it would be. It could be Horn. Could be Incinerating Trap. It's probably Incinerating Trap. Yeah, it's probably Incinerating Trap. So I think we go for Chimera. We don't have the Consume yet, so we won't do that. We just throw it on Dreg Revolt for the lock. The only engine value he's going to have is from the one guy from the scenario, so I just want to do this. We'll eat the Incinerating Trap here. Yeah, there it is. Next turn we have Chimera. Chimera plays for 10. It's pretty good. Or 9, rather. Still pretty good. Alright, I'm betting that one's a Crushing Trap. And then if we Chimera, we consume one of the guys' melee, spread out the points a little bit, and hopefully protect the drones. I want the drones protected. Because we play Arachas Behemoth, he buffs them. And now ranged, we gain a point of value basically by the Crushing Trap doing 2 damage to Dreg Revolt, even though he has 1 health. He could move something though. That's something he might do. Okay. So there's the Crushing Trap. We knew about that. Now we're still up 18. Kind of curious what this last trap is. We're going to throw Crimson Curse here. It is Pitfall Trap, which is unfortunate. But I want my Spontaneous Evolution because we're going to need the spawning cards if we want to go for round 2 push. And Crimson Curse should force him out. I don't want to have to play much else from my deck. We want to force out his Eldain. Preferably also his Vernia Cell. Or Feign Death. One of those will be gone. He's playing a lot of traps here. Usually you play all traps in one round with Eldain. The other round you play Feign Death. And then one other round you play whatever you have. At least that's how I've seen people play the deck. So we want to get rid of the trap round. That's the dangerous round with the Crushing Traps. We've gotten rid of one from the Create. This one either is from returning to hand or in his deck. So potentially he still has 2 Crushing Traps. Swordmaster. I really wish this guy left. But we can't let him win this round. How many elves is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, he's not... Either Erlin's in his hand or he's not running her. Interesting. I don't think she's in his hand. She could be. We'll see. He's played down quite a bit. With that removal, yeah, there we go. He should pass. Round 2 now. We'll go for our push/bleed. I would like Triss or Yennefer in my hand to have access to the other one. And probably Arachas Behemoth will be coming off of the Ownermancy at some point. Heatwave's nice if he plays Scenario. 4 damage, okay. We don't have much Swarm to consume or payoff from our Chimera without leader charges. And again, I don't think he plays any engines except the one off of his Scenario. So I don't think we want to put Griffin back too. This hand is not super good. We can bleed him though. His short round is less good than other Scoia'tael decks, right? There's no Gourd. His best short round is probably just Scenario with Eldain Vernia Cell. And if we can get rid of one of those things, it'll be much better for us because we can go 4 leader charges and then Swarm and then Yennefer. That's high payoff. The other thing is I want to make sure Erlin isn't coming out then. So either she comes out here or he's not running her. They don't always run her. Usually they do, but sometimes they don't. Gotta keep that in mind. Ownermancy here is really good. I think there's Feign Death. We're just gonna Heatwave that straight away. I want this to convince him to commit his traps. Crushing Trap is we want Crushing Traps to be gone, and this should force him either Crushing Trap or get something set up. We can consume our Night Wraith for +2 rats from our Chimera, but that's not the most optimal value from him. Alright, buddy, what do you got? Crushing Trap? I don't think we played Crushing Trap quite yet. That might be something else. He's already played Pitfall. He didn't create a Pitfall. It could be Serpent. Serpent here would be amazing. So let's see if we can proc that. Amazing for us for it to be gone. Okay. I want it to be gone before we Chimera, so it's not Serpent Trap. That leaves Crushing Trap will activate this turn. Okay, there we go.
Enough of this farce. Vetrai, Emily!
I wasn't too concerned about Crushing Trap here, just because we're not trying to win the round. We're trying to force out his stuff. Okay, so this will be his Eldain round. One of these has to be Crushing Trap now, so we'll consume. The other ones might be Incinerating. Yep, there's Incinerating. Usually you run Incinerating, Crushing, and then Pitfall slash Serpent slash... usually Pitfall slash Serpent for your third one. But you can also run more than 3. If you run exactly 3, when you create one, you see those 3. Okay, this Crushing Trap has to be going off now.
Peace with humans? I buy dogs.
No. So no Crushing Trap. Interesting. What if he's Horn? We'll just pass. Because he could have... Yeah, there's Horn. Then I think the other one's Serpent. If we just pass, he has to play a card. At this point, we either forced out his Eldain to win the round. And if he doesn't play Eldain, Eldain's going to be bad round 3. So we basically neutralized the trap round and the Eldain. Because you want to play them together. The thing is, we didn't see if he has Airlin or not. But with this many traps, I'm guessing he doesn't run her. Because Mahakam Horn's pretty expensive. Ooh, yeah, that was a Serpent Trap. Good thing we stopped playing there. Dodged a lot of value on those traps. So Eldain's basically dead. At most, he creates one guy from Scenario. He has to be playing Scenario. So we just want Swarm here. We could answer the guy from Scenario. But I don't think we will. I mean, we already killed the Scenario. So we don't need this to answer the one guy from Scenario. So I think he has one Crushing Trap for an artifact left in his deck. I'm guessing he doesn't just straight run 2. Based on what I've seen so far. Duda's nice. I don't think we need this 4 damage, though. Yennefer, that's nice. Okay, good. This is a good hand. At this point, I think... we have to be careful about Crushing Trap, but if he doesn't have it, we're okay. We can just go for stuff off Yennefer. Triss will be really good here to spawn its guys. Smuggler... Alright, he's gonna get a couple hand buffs out of that. That's fine. There is the potential for Eldain still. Or not Eldain, Airlin. I'm at this point, I don't think he's running Airlin. If he was, he probably would have tried to pull her out round 1. Let's go for a Spontaneous Evolution here off of Triss. That'd be our most value here.
Just great.
No Evolution, but Arachas Nestle set up our swarming quite well as well. I don't want the damage. I don't really want to kill off that Smuggler. It's not going to be too bad. We could spread them out, but let's put them together. We'll play Behemoth next. If he sets a trap, we'll have to go right into Yennefer to try and make sure they don't die to a Crushing Trap. That's going to be a Crushing Trap then, 100%. Yeah, he'll just spring it. It's pretty smart. He knows that if he left those there, we would just Yennefer them and they'd go to 3. Still though, we have these and Behemoth. That's worth quite a few points. Then we have Duda, then Yennefer, or Yennefer, then Duda. I want to play Yennefer first, just before he uses his leader charges. He probably assumes we're saving Yennefer for last play, and next turn he'll leader. Yeah, there's the Eldain we mentioned. It's only going to get 1 here. So he has Vernia Cell and 3 leader charges. Don't think he has Airlin. So we'll just Yennefer here. That gains us 10 points total, I think. I think it was 10. And then he has 3 charges in Vernia Cell. If Airlin comes out, we lose. If he doesn't, we win. That's what this comes out to. But I don't think he has her. Vernia Cell. Hopefully he doesn't kill off one of our guys. Ooh, he did. It's kind of annoying. Okay, no Airlin. It's kind of what I figured after seeing all the traps. Spent a lot of provisions on extra traps. Scoundrel here puts us up by 1 point, and we win. Pretty sure. Alright, GG. That was a good game, actually. So this is one of the tougher matchups, is the trap deck, but if you play your stuff right, you can definitely win. Alright, game 3. Doing pretty well so far. Alright, this is going to be Koshchey. Pretty sure it's going to be Koshchey. So this we have to play kind of like all the games so far. We have to play really aggressively round 1, because I know his other rounds could be a problem for us. Specifically his round 3, a short round 3 where he gets his Koshcheys and Caranthir. Here's the thing. Our round 3 kind of relies on swarming and Yennefer, and he's swarming with Draga Larvas. Yennefer doesn't do anything for us. So we have to get rid of him round 2. We're going to play extremely aggressive this round 1. But first we'll start off with a nice little... By aggressive, I mean we're going to throw out our finisher type cards. Cards you usually save on. So like Duda. I want to throw out Duda. I want to throw out Bone Talismans. I want to throw out Crimson Curse. Actually, this is a nice Crimson Curse. If we don't get rid of these Neckers, they will get out of control. And we don't want him having engine value. We could pull out Wispa's Tribute with Ownermancy, then hit him with one of them with the 4 damage card. But I think I like Crimson Curse better. We really want this round to be won. Like, we really have to win this round for our game plan to work. So we'll just go for it. And hopefully that will do it. Should put him in a bad spot. Either he abandons these Neckers to die. Well, they're going to die. He could either put stuff in the row with them, or he could just leave them there to avoid more bleeding value. Elder Bear. Yeah, I wanted to play these weak bronze cards and pass to round 2, where we can do our big push. That's our game plan. Along with that game plan, I need to keep either a combination of Heatwave, Gregory Evolve, a combination of Heatwave, Gregory Evolve, and Parasite in my hand. 2 of them, to answer both Koshcheys. Although even with that, he should probably be getting enough value off of Draga Larva to win a round with the Koshcheys without going down a card. It depends. Alright, he's going to be playing the Crones. So he's going to be committing a little more heavily here. We're going to have to too then. We could go for Ownermancy, Wispa's Tribute, Spontaneous Evolution. That's a big swing. We could also just go for the Spontaneous Evolution. Duda's not bad here. Keep calling Zoltan Duda, because Duda's the companion he plays. Zoltan's not bad here. But we'll go for the Behemoth. It's not going to fill up a whole bunch of space here. But I don't want to use Leader Charges, because we definitely need those for round 2. And the other option was Ownermancying into something. And we would have to probably get Spontaneous Evolution. I think I'd like this better. Tribute comes down for 4. We could go for Zoltan. Ownermancy into the Triss last turn would have been nice. But we'll just go for a Bone Talisman here. He's down quite a bit on points. And Bone Talisman is a card I don't mind getting rid of. Gangtian. Okay, sure. This is where we either Zoltan or Talisman. Let's just Talisman again. I like that play. Each Talisman is giving us 11 points. That's decent. Obviously, we could have had a couple more points from the Behemoth row by not playing the Arachas Behemoth, but we were up quite a bit, and I don't want to overextend too many cards I need for the round 2 push. So I didn't go for Wispa's Tribute. Well, Ownermancy wouldn't be bad, but the thing with Ownermancy is I want it round 2 for the push. I want it round 3 to make sure we have a finisher. So we need to have something to deal with in round 3. Really, we need access to Yennefer for round 3 after pushing round 2 without her. That's the thought process here. Otherwise, you obviously could have set more stuff up in the Behemoth row for more value, but I didn't think we were going to need it. After all, he is down 23. Now, I think he's debating passing. He might have a She Who Knows. That's possible. He might be setting up a carryover. We have a Heat Wave, though. Yeah, there she is. I think he was trying to decide whether or not to play her, and we're going to have to Heat Wave her. We do have access still to our combination of 2 of our 3 removals. We have access to our Parasite, and we have access to the Gregory Evolve, counting him as a removal here. We could Ownermancy out our Gregory Evolve. I want to have Ownermancy for round 2 and 3, like I already said, so we'll Heat Wave here. That will almost certainly convince him to pass. There it is. Then we pass, so we go for a round 2 push. That's how we beat this guy. Alright, Nest is nice. Griffin's okay. Queen's alright. I'm not sure how I feel about Queen. I think we want to replace the warrior that consumes the adjacent units with a Kikimore worker and then consume that with this card for extra drones. I think we want to try that out before we get rid of her. Get rid of Griffin. We have another Griffin. This hand's not too bad. I'll keep it. We have Nest. It's a pretty good setup. We also have Queen. I think if Queen's interesting. If she had one more armor, I'd be quite happy running her. As she is, she's alright. The other thing is there's not really that much armor on insectoid units. There's just like the one, I think. Maybe they want you to Ogroid spontaneous evolution and then put armor on something, consume it with her. But that's never going to happen. Worker, yeah. Griffin's in our play here. He comes down for 8 points. Decent. We also deny him any dominance he might have. He might be running riders. Sometimes they play riders for consistency. We want to deny that if he has it. Although, he would have played it that turn. The Regare of Vol. Alright, he's being greedy here. Next turn he has to Caranthier the... Well, he's not being greedy yet. Next turn he has to Caranthier the Koshchey out. I think. So wait for him to do that. And then we'll hit it with Parasite. Because you're going to want to save... As I've played a lot of Koshchey decks. Usually you want to save the Koshchey... If you everyone's going to try and bleed it out, right? But if you can save one Koshchey, the regular one, and your leader for round 3, your round 3 still basically secured it as a win. So you want to wait and save that, but that means you usually have to throw out the Caranthier version round 2 if you're getting bled to avoid losing. But we'll just Parasite it. There's the Parasite. It's unlikely we force out... well, I think we can force out the other one. We'll see. Duda here, or Zoltan here, and Duda play for 13, which is good. But then we don't have room for Yennefer. That's fine. We can get some other payoff or card off our Onomancy. Parasite. Well, actually, we can play both now. Let's go Companion here. There's the option to just drop 5 leader charges melee after this and then play Yennefer. It's not something I normally want to do. The other thing is when you push them round 2, they don't always have Caranthier and Koshchey, because Koshchey has to be in their hand. It's actually a pretty fair amount of times they won't have it. Although it always seems like they do, right? It always seems like they have it. What are you gonna do here, buddy? I want you to throw out Koshchey, but you might not. Mamuna, okay. I see how it is. That's going to be a problem here, because I don't win him this round. It's going to be so many points that I don't want to commit, because we have the leader charge and then Yennefer, and he has a bunch of units. Yennefer's not that big. He's got 6 units. We have 8. If we play 5 charges, we have 13. So we have 7 more units. That means Yennefer plays for plus 14 total, and then she's worth 2, so plus 16. Her playing for 16, and then we get 5 extra points from spawning the drone, so it's 21. Potentially we go to 48, but that uses all of our leader charges and our big finisher. So that's not going to work out. I guess we have to pass here. There's nothing else we can do. I'm not willing to commit that, because then we lose this round to any bronze card and his leader ability, or like a good gold card. Alright, so he still has Koshchey, and he's up a card, and he still has leader. So that didn't work out quite how we wanted. Mamuna really coming in here to throw everything off. That being said, we haven't lost the game. Alright, we have Triss. I want Yennefer or Triss in my hand. So I think Chimera is what we put back for them. That's nice. So what we need here is him to be conservative with his Koshchey. If he's conservative and doesn't play it right now, he's afraid of getting removed, then we're set. We need this nest. There's no way we kill off the Koshchey, so we're not going to bother saving for that. We want him to be slow about playing it. Hopefully there's a bunch of other engine cards he wants to develop first and doesn't play Koshchey, because as soon as he starts swarming with larvas, our payoffs get smaller and smaller from Yennefer. We will certainly outswarm him. Okay, Self-Eater. Self-Eater. I wonder... That's going to swarm too. We just have to keep swarming. I think it's their only option. Let's fill this row up. Actually, yeah, let's fill this row up. Then Yennefer with leader charges next turn into Finisher, Triss, probably Bone Talisman. I don't think he's actually playing any bronze specials. So that leaves us just with our bronze specials, and we're running the damage one, Bone Talisman, and whatever it's called. I think we're guaranteed, if he's not playing any bronze specials, I think we're guaranteed to get Bone Talisman here. And I don't think he is, so I think we get Bone Talisman off Triss. So we saw Yennefer here. We're up by 2.
There'll be nothing to pick up.
Now we're up by 24. Certainly pretty nice. Although we just did proc his Sabbath for him, but there's no way around that. Oh, he split his Self-Eaters last turn before playing... Okay, so he didn't know about the change. The change to Self-Eater is now that since it's having its base power, it doesn't count as damage anymore. It rounds up. So the halve of 5 goes to 3. So you have it to from 5 to 3s, and you play to your... There's our Bone Talisman. Or not guaranteed great, because we have Arachas Nest and Spontaneous Evolution, along with the damage card. But 23, I don't think he can do. We already Heat Wave to She Who Knows. He gets a lot of points, though, from his engines out here, so it'll be close. But yeah, like I was saying, here, we're not guaranteed at Bone Talisman, but it's a very good chance. If we don't get it here, that's pretty bad, but what are you gonna do? Brewist, yeah, he was very conservative with his Koshchey. If he played it more aggressively, he would have won most likely. GG. Let's go into last game here then. See if we can't win another one. Do one more here today. This deck is significantly better than the Death Wish deck, although Death Wish deck was worth experimenting with. This is normally my go-to monsters deck, the Arachas Swarm. Usually what I ladder with. It's pretty good. Pretty good. This is another Koshchey player. Alright. So this video here we have 2 early games. The first 2 games were with decks that really do well against Arachas Swarm, and we were able to beat them. Then we did one Koshchey deck where our round 2 push didn't really work out at all. He kind of stopped it with Mamuna, and then he still had Koshchey leader ability, but no Caranthia for round 3. This one, same thing as last game. I'll probably talk a little less because it's basically the same thing. We're going to play aggressively, try win the round 1, and do a round 2 bleed. Again, just like last game, Crimson Curse these Neckers. I want them gone, and I want him to kind of just abandon this round. Alright, 4 Neckers is a lot of engines, to be fair. We could do the Agitator and kill off one set. That's an option, so we can make Zoltan melee. Probably denies him 4 points each. And it's probably the same thing as if we didn't do it. Self-Eater. I think we Parasite that. Sometimes these Koshchey decks run a Purify, because you don't want Koshchey getting locked. Lock's not always an answer, because sometimes they play Purify. So we'll hit this with a Parasite, just in case he's doing that. This should convince him to leave the round at this point, and that's what we want. So it's a Renew version. Okay. This is probably the Renew version then, which is pretty interesting. So the Renew version of Koshchey, you play Caranthir, You play Koshchey to win a round, and then you renew the Caranthier back later on. Sometimes they run a second Caranthier target as well, which is kind of interesting. So we'll throw out Behemoth here. We have to commit pretty heavily. Behemoth's a big play. He's going to play Queen. You know, I think we just play our Endrega Queen to, like, be Endrega Queen buddies. Oh, I don't want to lock this one. I want to lock the next one. Because this one, I think we're okay with. This Koshchey. We'll be Endrega Queen buddy with him. We do have a significant lead, so I don't want to waste too much control, because we're kind of short on control in the deck. Eider, however you say his name. This guy's deck's pretty interesting. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's Renew. I'm like 100% sure it's a Renew Koshchey deck, but I'm kind of not too sure about the rest of his inclusions. We have Bone Talismans. This will play for +9 here. Really good. I really think this change to Zoltan's very nice. I think it's deserved. He fits kind of like Jermaine, right? He's good in this deck, but not much else. Second Koshchey. I think we lock that one. Or we're just going Bone Talisman. We're up by 20. We're going for the lock here. I don't really want him swarming both rows with Endrega Larvas. Bloody Mistress. Alright, he's really trying to win this round. But Bone Talisman is going to say no to that. Even with Koshchey still going melee. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Thrive Engines, +2 a turn off of Bloody Mistress, or Granacora. And then yeah, Koshchey's +3 on a Thrive. And then he's got 5 other Thrive cards. That's a lot. Mega Scope. Okay, that's not very good. I think he should have passed there. We're just going to pass here. Or we could Onomancy out our last Bone Talisman. You know what? I think we'll do that. He could play She Who Knows and Leader. That's 19. Maybe we should have passed here. The only reason I didn't is because I'm a little confused by what he's running. Okay, yeah, there's a Mega Scope on Endrega Larva. When I'm a little confused, I play more conservatively because I'm not sure here what else he's running. He might have a Yrden or something. But then again, Bone Talisman gets half its value removed from that. Let's see, what's our hand? This is a solid round 2 push hand, honestly. We've got the Swarming from the drones, Leader, and then Yennefer. Well, I'm not sure we want to do this push. I think I do. We'll go for it. It depends on what he plays here. We have 5 charges into Yennefer next turn. That's huge. Adarin. Yeah, Adarin's getting heat waved here. So I'm guessing he wanted to renew Caranthier here. I'm not sure what it'd be on. That's like the... Yeah, by the way, it's really fast heat wave. He's not surviving. Let's see, he's played Granacora. He's played Koshchey. He's played Koshchey. He's played Eider. And he's also played Caranthier. Okay, so we're just going to do this. Onomancy will be gone now, but I think that he doesn't have his combo or renew in his hand. Playing very slowly here. We're up by 25. I think we go for this. I think he's committed to so many of his provisions that he doesn't have anything left. Even if he does have renew, he probably doesn't have a target for Caranthier in his hand. Haunt? Oh. Didn't see that coming. But he can't double activate it no matter what. He might not even be able to single activate it. Kind of feels... Okay, Jermaine. Interesting deck, that's for sure. Haven't seen that before, but not quite enough. We were actually able to take a 2-0 there. But we were able to force out his combo, which is really what I wanted to do. GG. lastly then, what do I think about the deck? What would I change? Let's have a look. So first of all, let's take a look at the big card we want to take a look at here, Zoltan Scoundrel. He got buffed by 2 provisions. At 8, I think he's definitely worth including, and I like him. Now, the other thing is, this is the high payoff version, right? So how did Bone Talisman do? Actually pretty well. And I quite enjoy Bone Talisman. It's really good at getting you points. Nice to have. Changes to the deck. Indraga Warrior for the Kikimor Worker, is it? Kikimor Worker is a good change. This plays for 7. You don't really need this consume, I don't think. It's okay on a Night Wraith, but you can just consume the Night Wraith with your Indraga Queen. So I think I like running Kikimor Worker and seeing if we can get a payoff on Indraga Queen. More drones from its armor, for example. I think that's a change I want to try out. And then the other thing to mention is we're playing the 3 organics: Evolution, Nest, and Natural Selection. And then we have the extra Bronze and Bone Talisman. If you cut out this one Natural Selection, you guarantee Triss always gives you your Bone Talisman. If you like that, you can do that. I like having the option of Natural Selection. You can also run Predatory Dive, right? So Predatory Dive is a card I don't favor very much. People play around it too much for me. And people play too many small tokens, Mage Assassins, Flying Redania, and stuff like that. But you can certainly run it. Sometimes it catches the opponent off guard, and that's pretty good. But other than that, I quite like the deck. Germain's a card we cut for Zoltan and made a buff. As always, the Indraga Queen slot right here. This you can run whatever you want in. And you could even swap cards around. You could fit a Maxi into, so maybe you want to cut Indraga Warrior, add in Maxi, cut the Indraga Queen for a Purify in the, what's it called, Queen of the Night. That's certainly an option as well. Because outside of Purify, Heat Wave's your only answer to a Defender. So I think that might be a good change. Queen down, or Indraga Queen to Queen of the Night, and then you add the Indraga Warrior up to a Maxi for more consistency, or you add the Indraga Warrior up to another 5 provision card of your choice. Maybe Nowzer's Thunder, although I wouldn't run that because we already have the Natural Selection. But it could be whatever you want. Certainly options. There's definitely choices in the 5 provision bronze units you could run. You could even play a Taskmaster for a Purify if you wanted, and then keep a different 6 provision card, like the 6 provision damage neutral now. But that's all for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.